What? X-Harper here, WWE2k19. We're back with a weekend video. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. What I'm going to do today is we're going to go and have a look at some of the alternate attires that I use in my game. Pretty simple. So we're going to go into creations. We're going to go into it's in Superstar. Saturday morning, I don't give a damn. Yep. So what I want to do, like I said, is just go through all of the alternate attires that I use in my universe mode so that you guys can see the different designs that I'm not going to go into the custom superstars. This is just going to be for alternate attires for people that are already in the game. So you guys can go ahead and recreate these. None of these attires are on community creations, so if you want to copy them, if you want to use them, feel free to do so, but it's just going to be a matter of you finding is going to each one and actually give you the RG, what colors I've used to redesign outfits. So the first one is Diamond Dallas Page. Now I usually have a couple of attires for DDP. The first you see, and if we go into and then the second of the two attires is an injured one. Now basically DDP, I don't know, it definitely happened, but he had some sort of rib problem, lower rib problem, where he had this whole angle where his ribs were taped up, and I feel like he did it more than once as well, but I've always remembered it. I think most people remember this DDP as well. So you always see these attires floating around the internet, floating around the games. I created it, but I've also created like a Backstreet Brawl type attire. So I guess my idea for this is that in my universe mode at some point, and I don't want to give away spoilers, but he will win a title in my universe mode, and when he does, he's gonna have a rivalry and a feud with some big people on the roster, and when he has that feud, I always wanted to be able to show the angle of him being injured, him getting in trouble, and obviously if he gets in trouble, then he's gonna then have like a backstage brawl match as part of this rivalry where he's clearly injured, he's clearly hurt, and this is kind of like the attire that the injury, you know. So what I want to do is create that. I've created the purple one, and then I've got the original. Any audio then, it's actually coming out my phone because I just put my phone on live to make sure this internet signal's working okay, because the connection can sometimes be poo. So that's my DDP with his two attires. Next up, there aren't a ton, so don't worry. I don't think I've filled out. See, I haven't filled out all of them. There's plenty of characters, but there aren't that many for alternate attires. There you go. That's all I've got for alternates. So the next one is Randy Savage. Randy Savage. The next one is Jake the Snake Roberts. Now for Jake, I love his attire because it's really versatile. I like it. He's got a really cool attire. So what I've done, I've created two. One of them is based on his original old school attire, which I've actually seen in the game is there. So there is a chance I'm going to just change this one. I might even do it right now just to see if it's on here. I'm sure I saw his pants on the game somewhere and I was like, oh wow, this trunk design is actually on the game, but they just didn't tell me about it. What I think is weird is that they've put some of the attires for the same wrestlers, there you go, in different places. So this is the attire that it was supposed to be copying. I'm actually going to go ahead and use that one for this. Now, for his colour, I mean, the game's obviously got the colour more or less spot on, but I like to usually darken it and also fade it out a little bit, just because of the retro look that you get from fading colours. I think the other colours I'm happy with on there, just that main turquoise green, aqua green color, whatever you personally call it. So that is the outfit that I'm now going to use. And like I said, I didn't notice until after I'd edited the other one, and I'd spent about 20 minutes editing it, this one, so I was a bit like, oh, I'm annoyed that I've only just spotted that the original is on there. And so at the time I was just like, I can't be bothered. Too much pride in my creative work to just do over myself and give the original. Anyway, what I've done now is that one is in there, but then I also use this attire, which is his pay-per-view / champion attire. At the moment on my universe mode, Jake is the WWE champion on my game, so he's going to be he's going to be main eventing pay-per-views a lot. So I really wanted a cool looking attire that he could wear as the champion. So I've got this one, which is now his original Jake the Snake attire. I love that one, and that's probably going to become my default in universe mode now, because I do love that design. I love this design as well. He's got some really cool design tights. But there you go. That's the two Jake Roberts that I now have. You've literally seen me update one of them live. The only thing that I would do, I usually change this. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this the OG, because he is. And then once that's done, save it. So he'll appear in a different order now, but I'll skip Jake later now that I've changed the alphabetical name. But that attire is really cool. I love that one. I don't know why that isn't the actual default attire for Jake Roberts, to be honest, but it's not. But we do have the trunks to be able to go and give it. What I do love about one of the big aspects of WE2k19 that I like is that they've added a lot more alternate attires, but like the official attires. Edge has now got like 3 or 4 attires that you can give him. I think Christian's got 4 or 5. Bret Hart has even got 2 or 3. And it's just like, I love the fact that they've added those onto the game so that you really have the freedom with the characters that you have on the game to change everything you want. Anyway, the next one is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And Shawn has got more than 2. I always end up doing 4 for him, because the problem with Shawn is that I never know which attire to give him. So I end up, if I've got spare slots, I end up giving him loads of attires. So for this was the most recent attires that I created for him, which are essentially the blue one and black one that he's well known for wearing. This was sort of circa 1995, 96, just before, or just as the Attitude Era was developing. He was wearing this kind of blue and black with white outline attire. And then, and again, we can go in here and show you more, but then his entrance attire I've kind of made up based on what he wore at the time. It's probably not 100% accurate, but it's just loosely based around what he would wear as an attire. And then the second one is the WrestleMania 12 attire. Now, don't hate me, people. I understand that this is the DX attire, but it's the best looking one in terms of getting the attire to look like it did at WrestleMania 12. So forgive me, it's not quite perfect, but I think you'll agree it looks pretty decent and pretty close. I like it, and so I've then gone and tried to copy as well as I can the WrestleMania 12 entrance attire too. Again, I couldn't really find the official. I don't think his official attire that he wore for WrestleMania 12 is on the game, which is kind of surprising for Shawn Michaels, because WrestleMania 12 was such a significant match in history. But those are the 2 attires. They're pretty easy to do. You can always just pause this video, by the way. If you want to recreate it, just go and pause the video and you can just match the colours up from your phone or from your laptop to your computer. It's really not that hard. The other thing to do is, of course, just Google. I've Googled most of my alternate attires. There's a couple that I've created myself, which I have for Edge and Christian, which I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, like I said, Google, get images, do as much research as you can, find out what the attire colours are, and then you can mimic it in your own story mode. And you can also add your own touch and make sure that it's the exact colour that you like and want on the game. Now, Edge and Christian are in the Brood on my game. I've put them back with Gangrel, I always do. And to do that as a not sort of celebration, I always put them with a Brood attire so that they don't look because they look odd without the Brood attire. You know, with the original attires that they both wear, they have loads of colours. They've got, even the graphics are quite heavy for when they were in the Brood. Edge, I believe, didn't wear that much detail when he was in the Brood. See if I can edit Edge and show you what the Rated R Superstar looks like. Okay, so here's Edge. And again, all you can see is that, and this is something that I'm so glad 2K has finally sorted out. If you've noticed, they've finally sorted out the memory for saving the color swatches that you use. And so now it's very easy in one go just to kind of get the same color for multiple superstars that you want. And when you've got a stable and you want them to wear the same color, it's really important that it remembers the color that you used. Last year I had to, and every year before that, I had to take screenshots. I had to use my phone to get the RGB color or whatever, and then I used that to get what I needed. But now it's all solved and we can use the memory. So I keep the Rated R Superstar. I'm not too fussed about that. You know, the pant designs aren't bad for Edge. I mean, he has got other attires on the game. I wish that they'd put his original sort of 97, 98 attires on the game, because those Edge attires were really cool. The ones that had like loads of flames around his name. Those were like my favourite attires for Edge, but for some reason they haven't added those on the game. So unfortunately you can't give him his actual Attitude Era attire, but you can just change the colours up and it has the same effect as far as I'm concerned. Next on the agenda then is the British Bulldog. My homie. Oh, yeah, British Bulldog. Wait, where's he gone? It's actually, okay, Corporation. Stupid load times. So the Corporation is the Big Show. I've gone back to when he was Paul Wright in my career mode. So all I've done is I've created a very simple Paul White attire. He's hairless, but that's okay because it's still the Big Show. And that's what he was called, even as part of the Corporation anyway. So it's all fine. But like I said, he's got an alternate attire for me. I hate his current attires. I'm not a fan. But he likes to wear them, so that's his choice. But my choice on my game means that I can remove that stuff and replace it with something I like. So that's that one done. Let's wait for this to load. Okay, the next one then is Ted DiBiase. Now, Ted DiBiase, a lot of people are probably going to say, or it's like the Mandela effect, right? I think people assume that Ted DiBiase, when he wore the green attire, wore green pants, green trunks, green knee pads, green boots, whatever, and vice versa with the white and the pink. The truth is that I've never seen him wear anything else other than black trunks, black pads, and black boots. So that original outfit is actually what he wore whenever he was the $1 Million Man. If he wore... Just bear that in mind, because I think a lot of people just assume if he's got a green suit on, he therefore would have wore green everything else. But that is not the case. Not from what I've ever seen. If somebody has an image on the internet, or if somebody has an image at home of Ted DiBiase wearing anything other than the black outfit when he was the $1 Million Man, I would love to see it. You've got to post it on Twitter and at me, mention me, because I want to see it. I really want to see it. I've scoured Google looking at matches of Ted DiBiase, and then just going back in my memory thinking like, what matches do I remember Ted DiBiase actually wearing these attires? And I went back on the network, and again, I couldn't find any easily. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that I haven't seen it, but there's this Mandela effect thing where I'm certain in my head that I saw him wear green trunks or white trunks once. I'm sure of it. Like, in my head, I'm convinced. It's not guaranteed. I don't know for certain, but I think it might be a Mandela effect where actually he just wore the black outfit. So, as you can see, you've got the green and silver suit. And as you can see, he's got his silver and pink suit. These were very common outfits that he wore to the ring on different occasions. So I just wanted to throw up his entrance attire, just change things up every now and then in the universe mode. And I just figured maybe when he's in a tag mode, he can come down wearing a different outfit. Maybe when he's in the one-on-one mode, he can wear the green one. I don't know. It's just to give a bit of variety for a wrestler that I do use now that he's back in the game. Okay, finally, my homeboy, British Bulldog. This is one of the first wrestlers I ever got to see live in Blackpool and in Skegness. I wasn't following him around, but I was a little kid. Skegness is like this little holiday sort of town on the coast in England. It was well known back in like the late 80s and early 90s as like a cheap holiday destination for the poor kids, and I was a poor kid, so we went to watch British Bulldog. I think he fought. It was an amazing card. When I look back at it, it is the sickest card. I've got a signed poster from Big Daddy at home. Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks, Kamala, and the British Bulldog were all on the card. And it was a WWE event. And my brother, who used to antagonize me about wrestling because I love it, he used to be like, it's fake. And at that time I was like, it's not. And so he said, why don't you go up to Big Daddy and ask him yourself? So I did. And Big Daddy was really nice. And he said to me, if your brother, and I obviously rattled on my brother. I just said, hey, if Big Daddy, hey, my brother says wrestling's fake. What do you think? And he just looked at me and said, tell your brother to get in that ring and I'll show him if wrestling's fake or not, and he can tell me. And that is my only experience with Big Daddy in my life, but it was a good one and I will always remember it. And like I said, I've got the signed poster from him proudly at home back in the UK. But like I said, Bulldog was on the card and I also got to meet him and say hello, but I was a little kid, so didn't realise the significance of what I was really doing at the time. Anyway, in honour of the Bulldog, I always give him a different attire. I don't really like his trunk attire. I prefer the actual full-length pants attire. So this is the one I always give him. I've changed the colours slightly on it. I tried to dull the colours a little bit because they're always too bright for me. So I've dulled the colours down a little bit, and as you can see, I've also given him his Heart Foundation because he's in the Heart Foundation on my game. I've given him the attire to enter the ring. So that is the British Bulldog, and you even got a little bit of a personal story out of me as well. So back to alternate attires. Come on, load the game. There we go. Next one is Eddie. Viva la raza! R.I.P. Eddie. He wasn't... I think it was his anniversary 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. Wait a minute. That is not the person I clicked on, WWE. The load thing is weird to me. This thing should load in alphabetical order. It randomly loads all the characters. So look at this. You just end up getting guys with the letter C just popping up in the middle of nowhere. Confuses me. Okay, Eddie Guerrero. Let's go. So on my universe mode, Eddie Guerrero is in the Latino World Order. He's the head of it, as he was in real life. So that's his entrance attire that you're getting to see there. It's also the sort of default attire that I use for his profile picture. Eddie actually has a few different... I have two attires for him. So there's the Latino World Order, sort of OG Eddie from 96, 97, possibly 98 as well. But then there's also the Eddie Guerrero who first came to WCW. So I don't do any ECW attires, but I do focus on his WCW reign. This isn't the actual attire. He wore a singlet when he was first in the business. But what I've done as sort of a tribute to that attire, I have given him the red, white and black, which are the colours that he used in the attire that he already has. What I have done with this attire, you'll probably notice his boots are different. Now, the reason I've done that, I think there was an issue that I had firstly with the colour gold on those boots didn't look right. But then I actually went back into my network, WE network pass, and then watched some matches of him from WCW and realized he didn't even wear these boots in WCW. So he actually wore those boots. So that attire that you see is the closest you'll get to a WCW attire. Certainly the one that we all remember. So that's Eddie done. That's the Eddie I use. And as you can see, I've got plenty of spots left. I'm probably going to go back and do a few more. I usually leave my alternate attires until the end of the game because I want to make sure that I've got everybody on the game that I want sorted first. So I want all my custom superstars first, then the alternate attires sort of fill out the blank slots that are left on my game, just so that I've got a bit of variety with as many wrestlers as possible. So the next one, if you smell what The Rock is cooking. Man, this has been a good day for if you're listening. You've had like a story from me, you've had story time, and now you've had my impersonation of a wrestler. Not that it was a good one, but it was still an impersonation. Okay, The Rock, I'm going to have to go into this one, I think, because you can't actually see what he's wearing. So, this is my tribute to The Rock's original, one of his original attires when he moved to being a heel, in the first time he was a heel in the business. And The Rock obviously has like a, I think he's got like a blue The Rock with a pink background or something like that. And it's great, looks good, that's what it is. But I do a little bit of a switch up on it and make it red and gold because I like those colours for The Rock. And then this one I'm not going to show you, it's just literally silver The Rock. And again, I like pay-per-view attires. I think he wears gold for his default attire at the moment. So this is his default attire in my game. And then this one is one that he wears every now and then. And then his original attire, the gold one, is what he wears at pay-per-views. I usually like saving the colour gold for pay-per-views for The Rock. So that's him done. Who is next after The Rock? Could be the match. Could not be. Oh yeah! Okay, it's Macho Man. God, man, I'm throwing out all the impersonations this morning. So the Macho Man is in the NWO, clearly. Now, I've got to give a bit of credit here where it's due. There was a guy, I don't actually know his name, so I'm not really giving credit, but there was another design that I found on Community Creations. Somebody had duplicated the Macho Man and then given him the Madness outfit. Now, not this whole outfit is not theirs. I've got the logos from that person. So the logos, and they look sick. They're really high res. I love it. They look great. I wish I could get these myself, but that person has done a wonderful job. So all I've done is added them to the attire that I've created. Okay. Now the one I've created is based on his WCW attires. I mean, he had so many attires when he was in WCW, but this is the one that I've ended up with. I really love this attire. It looks so fun. It's arguably the best attire I've ever had for the Macho Man on my games, and to the point where I've not even created a second attire for him. Usually I create 2 slots with different NWO attires, but this year I'm just like, man, this is sick. I'm never going to need to fight with Macho Man wearing anything else. So that's it. I've got 1 attire for Macho Man, and I love it. Those glasses, by the way, are actually Macho Man's glasses, just in case you're wondering if it's like another superstar and I've just taken it. I actually found a video in WCW where Macho Man wears those exact glasses, and it's pretty cool that they've added those glasses on the game because they obviously know that people like to create an NWO version of the match. Next up, again, you'll see 1 attire, NWO, Scott Hall, Too Sweet. Now, Hall was a creation that I reviewed on my NWO review video. It's a popular video. Go on there and watch it if you want to see what I've done. But basically, just to give you the short end, I found the font for Scott Hall on Photoshop, and then that allowed me to create this attire for him. And I've gone with the Hall Too Sweet. I don't like his red attire, so he literally never wears it. And then this is the attire he wears, and I love it. It's my favourite attire. Not sure if I did anything. Yeah, okay, so it looks like, I'm pretty sure it said the Outsiders on the back of his waistcoat as well. I'm pretty sure I deleted it by... I've done a really good job of hiding it if I have. There's a very faint line that you can see, and I'm pretty sure that I just covered over it with a rectangle and then just merged it with the leather for the waistcoat. Not that he wore a leather waistcoat, but I just merged it so that you couldn't see it anymore, and that is as close to that attire as I can get. For those of you who pay attention to WCW and the NWO, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, the letters Hall should be lowercase. It should be a higher case H and a lowercase everything else, or even all lowercase. No. No. I found a few images where actually Scott Hall had uppercase lettering for his name, so that was my inspiration for using it for this attire. I personally don't like the lowercase letters, especially in that font. I just don't think it looked as cool, so I always go with the capital letters. But that's why I did it. It is authentic though. I found it, and I was like, once I found it, I was like, this is legit now, I can use it. So that's what I did. That is Scott Hall done. Next up on the attires, we have possibly his tag team partner. If it loads. Okay, Kevin Nash. Now, Kevin's got two. Privileged boy that he is. If having tens of millions of dollars in his bank account, maybe even hundreds, isn't enough, he also gets two attires from me on WWE2k19. So, the way that this works is pretty simple. I just did like an original NWO looking attire, nothing special. He just walks to the ring wearing an NWO attire. He did wear that there were a couple of events where he wore that attire, but I just like to have an alternate for whatever reason. But then what I wanted to do was challenge myself to create the original, well, not the original, but my favourite NWO Nash attire, which was the 1998 WCW attire, where it had his name, and as you can see, it's on here. It's not 100% perfect. I think the lettering is a little bit thinner in real life, and the shape's slightly different, and the bubble shape around the letters are slightly different, but it's all negligible. But apart from that, I'm very happy with how it came out. It's an attire that I don't understand why it isn't on the game every year, because it is probably the most synonymous attire that Nash had in WCW. It was what he wore in WCW NWO Revenge, which is another nostalgic reason that I give him this attire, because it reminds me of that time that I loved playing computer games as a kid who had nothing better to do in his life than play computer games. So that is my Kevin Nash alternate attire. I think we're about halfway there now, just to reassure you. Probably a little bit over. Okay, so as I said, Jake Roberts I've already showed you. Okay, we're about halfway. Next one is the Ultimate Warrior. Now, again, he has this American attire that I really like, but it's because it's American, to me, that makes it really limited in its use. And I probably will create another attire for the Warrior, because I worked out, this wasn't something that it wasn't a smart thing, but what I noticed, I tried to do an attire for the Warrior, and every year when I do the Ultimate Warrior's outfits, I always try, just the rebellion in me says, just see if you can change the colours, right? Last year I couldn't change the colours, and maybe it was just this attire that they've done it to. Maybe you can go and check yourself, but I just went in and found that I could actually change all of the colours for all of his attires that they've put in the game, which is awesome. Because now I've gone with like this Halloween. It wasn't Halloween themed. It was just that I liked the colours together. I thought they worked well with the Warrior. I wanted to give him like a black attire that had a lot of colour to it as well. So I might, like I said, I'm probably going to create another attire. I actually think that this colour scheme works really well with the Warrior anyway. And again, I think it's also trying to give him a color scheme that is relevant, because his outfit was so 1980s and early 1990s that when you put him in the Attitude Era, where everything was so much more real and black and dark and gritty, his flamboyant neon tassel wearing colors are just like, they're not relevant. So in order to try and bring at least some relevance to an attire that I love, I have changed the colors, but also tried to bring in some of the grittiness, the blackness, the dark colors, and then mix it up with some of those brighter colors that you would see that the Warrior would normally wear. So like I said, I probably will, now that I have loads of room left, create another Warrior attire. But for me, this is the one that I use for him most of the time now. The USA one to me is one that I would only really use at a pay-per-view. And even then, I probably wouldn't use it. So I need a couple of Warrior attires. I'm definitely actually going to make another Warrior attire. Get on that rocket ship or whatever it was he was talking about back in the day. Now, next one, Randy Orton. This one will be nice and quick because all I've done is change the colours of his current attire. And the reason I've done it is because he's in Evolution. So, a pay-per-view outfit, I always like to give guys a pay-per-view outfit. In this case, it's just a nice black and gold. I think I made his trunks like glitter. It just gives it that extra sheen. It looks like more of a snakeskin vibe. So that's why I did that. But then his other attire is just red and gold. So I've literally filled it in with red. And that is his default attire on the game. That is Randy Orton's Evolution attire. Because he's part of the Evolution stable. And he needs to be on there. Oops. He's actually being cheered, that I've just noticed. I need to change that to being booed. The game actually, I don't know if that's a problem with the game, because I noticed that on my universe mode, a lot of the guys that I've set to be booed are actually still cheered, and vice versa, and it's very annoying when you're playing a game and you've set up a heel versus face rivalry, and there is nothing more painful than the crowd reacting the opposite to what you were hoping. Maybe that's how Vince McMahon feels most of the time at the moment. I don't know. Next up is Shawn Michaels, by the looks of things. Please don't be Shawn again. So this is the original alternate attires that I gave to Shawn Michaels, and these were based on WrestleMania, and I can't even remember what the black one was from. Basically, the black and white one is from an event. I remember him wrestling The Undertaker in the cage match. Bad Blood, of course, Bad Blood. So the Bad Blood in Your House, whatever you want to call it. The first ever Hell in a Cell. This is the attire that he wore for that match. So that's what I've given him. I'm not quite sure on his entrance attire. I think that is accurate to what he wore. And then the second one, again, I can't remember the WrestleMania, but it was the one where he fought against Chris Jericho. So it would have been after his comeback, after his getting saved and coming back to WE era. And I really like it. I just like this entrance attire, by the way. So I used it because I just like it, and I've never seen it before on the game. I really like that. So that's the attire that I've given him. It's a very simple one. But like I said, with Shawn, there are so many iconic attires that he wore. He had so many good matches wearing so many different attires that you end up just wanting to recreate all of them. And I'm limiting myself to 5 attires for Shawn Michaels every game. I could do 10 easily. It's just the way that he is. He's such a good wrestler and has so many great attires. Now, it's true. It's damn true. It's Kurt Angle. Now, Kurt Angle, on my game, anyway, is in ECW because that was his original brand that he made a debut on, but he didn't actually wrestle. He got offended by what was going on in ECW at the time because of his religious beliefs and left the company very shortly after, and then McMahon snapped him up, and the rest is history for the milk drinking Olympian. Now, what I've done for him is I'm not a fan of the attires that the game attribute to him. I do not like this attire, but I love the color scheme. Okay, just to let you know, I love the color scheme of this. It's red, gold, and blue for those of you who can't see it, and a bit of white on there as well. So I just, like I said, I really like this color scheme. I hope you like it as well. Basically, I use this as, like, you know, his normal Olympian attire, and then this is his pay-per-view outfit, the black one and gold and a bit of white. Last year it was just black and gold. I created the same thing as an alternate attire last year, but the white bits were either black or gold. I didn't have any white. I added the white accent, and it was like, actually that looks really cool, and it's a little bit of a nod to his original attire, which of course would be red, white and blue. So that is a black and gold version of his outfit. I really like that one. That's the pay-per-view. And then this one, I've actually set his black one as his default, but I'm just going to go in here now and change that, because it should be that one. That's the one that I really like him wearing. Love it. That is Kurt Angle done. You will be glad to know we're almost at the end of these attires now. We're just getting there slowly. Load times, man. Computer games. Frustration. If you want to see more videos, by the way, especially of another attire on the game that I've just created, the last video that I made with X-Pac is definitely worth watching. I think you'll like that one, and the outfit that I've managed to create for him. So go check that out if you haven't already. Obviously watch this video first. How dare you leave? Okay, so you can see, let me show you how many more. Okay, there's that many more. The next one I love, and I'm going to try and speed up for you. I want to make sure that you enjoy the video. Steamboat, I love his attires. It's arguably my favourite attire design on the whole game. And then I can just colour it whatever way I want. Last year I did white. I did a white version, I did a yellow version, there was a yellow, white, red and black version. He had so many versions, and they all look great, and I loved every one of them. But this year, I've just sort of said to myself, okay, his original attire, which I actually can't remember the colour of, I think it might be the white one this year. I just thought I'm going to do a black one and a red one. I changed it slightly from last year. Last year I had all black and all red in terms of the boots and the pants. But this year, the boots are now the opposite colour, and I really like the way that looks. It looks nice and old school and vintagey, which is great for him, and I think you'll agree. The black one in particular looks stunning. I love it. I wish more wrestlers would go back to that style. Do you know what? The Velveteen Dream, I've never seen the guy wrestle, but I've seen his attires that he wears, and I'm so glad somebody has brought back that kind of brush art. Airbrush art. I don't know what you would call it, but it looks sick. It's almost like a tattoo on trunks, and it looks great. I really love that artwork design, and I hope that more wrestlers start. You don't want everyone doing it. Let's get that out the window. But you want like 2 or 3 guys who've got a really good charisma to do it. I think somebody like Bobby Roode could do the whole Rick Rude mimic, and it would work. I think for Bobby Roode, that kind of gimmick would work really well. Velveteen Dream it already works for, so I would want him to stay doing that. Other than that, I'm trying to think on the roster. Someone like Dolph Ziggler could do it. I think Dolph could pull it off with his gimmick, and he could definitely do the Rick Rude kind of different designs for different feuds that he has. He's already done a little bit of it when he did the Intercontinental title on his pants, like that. It's those little touches to me that really show the character of the wrestler, the real life persona coming out. It shows that the wrestler has thought more about. It shows how deep they've thought about the match, that they've gone to the lengths where they've even thought, what am I wearing? What can I wear to help enhance the story? And I think that is really clever. I love it when wrestlers do that. They don't do it enough. Unfortunately, you end up getting the big trend at the moment, which is we've all got great athletic bodies. Let's all look like superheroes. I know fans are a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of that style of attire. I prefer them to actually be more original than that, but hey-ho. The Shield is pretty simple. I've just fully blacked everything out of Seth Rollins, so he's now got what I call, that is my version of the Shield attire. I'm not sure if that's actually what he wore when he was in the Shield. Frankly, I don't care. It's my universe mode. He's wearing all black. It looks way better than the red ones as well. I'm not a fan of him wearing loads of different colours. I think Seth should stick to just black attire. It looks really sweet. Although I did like his flame attire, by the way. When he wore, I don't know why he wore that flame attire, but whether it was a tribute to a wrestler or something, but it was a good attire. I really liked seeing him wear those. It was a good change up on his current outfits. Now, Triple H, this is basing Triple H on the 2000 era, 2000, 2001. Basically, when he was rivaling The Rock. This is actually, what am I talking about? This is the 98 era attire. This is when he was rivaling The Rock at SummerSlam 98. It's not perfect in terms of the logos. They're all Triple H logos, but I've just used the logos that are given to me in the game rather than going and finding the logos that he would have had in 98. I don't know why those aren't on the game. In fact, I'm surprised this outfit isn't on the game anyway, because this was one of his most iconic outfits, because SummerSlam 98 was one of his best matches with The Rock in the ladder match. The other attire is literally just the same thing in black. As you can see, I get him to wear his DX t-shirt to the ring, but not on the pay-per-view one. The black one is simply a pay-per-view outfit. Again, it's just a little bit different to what he wears in the game anyway. I may actually create more Triple H ones, because he's got some. I used to love his black sort of triangle with the HHH written. It was a really minimalistic design, but I loved it. Really love that design for Triple H. I might go back and try and recreate that at some point. Next up is Goldberg. To be honest, I'm not going to show you Goldberg. All it is, you can see it on the picture. I've just changed the arm pads to have those slits in. That's really all I've changed. And then I've made everything blacker. I just made it all as black as possible, because this game has always struggled with getting blacks to true black. The next one is Rey Mysterio. And Rey is wearing his LWO attire. Now, what I did with Rey, I tried to find... I watched the network and found his WCW attires. And then basically I've done tributes using his current attire. So this is what he wore in WCW. A red and white attire, simple. And then he wore a black and white attire, which is what I use for his LWO. And that is also his default attire. But like I said, he did have colour at times, as we all know, with Rey. And that's why he's got a red one as well. I don't know why his head looks so abnormally big. I don't know if anybody else has noticed. I know there's a big head mode this year, but for some reason Rey's head looks odd on this game. I think the mask just makes his cheeks look ridiculously big. Very weird. It just looks wrong. It doesn't look like Rey Mysterio, in my opinion. So that's Rey done. And again, he should be booed. I don't know why it says cheer. Maybe I've got to change it somewhere else other than universe mode. So we're nearly at the bottom now. Let's go all the way up. Mr. Perfect is next. Now, Mr. Perfect is in a faction called Legacy with the two Rudes, with Rick and Bobby Roode. But you will notice the attire that I've given him. I think most people probably recreate these attires. Obviously, I've given him the OG attire. And that's it for him. I don't think I need to spend any more time on him. He's one of my favourite wrestlers of all time. And so I like to give him his alternate attires. The orange one is another one that you can use. He had an orange and black, so the black would be on the back of his attire. Orange, the predominant. You should go and have a look. He's got some cool attires that you can change up, add, do whatever you want. Now, Lex Luger, I always get annoyed at this. Yes, Lex wore the colours that the game have given him as a default attire so far. Okay, fine. But it's not the total package Lex Luger, it's certainly not what we want to see. So I give him the black attire first, very plain and simple, but it's what he wore sort of late 90s, early 2000s in WCW. And then I found it was a rare image on Google, as in I only found one in a whole stack of pictures of Lex Luger where he was wearing red trunks, red knee pads and white boots. But I have him in my Four Horsemen on my game, so I always like him to have a Four Horsemen attire as well, that he basically wears. I'm actually going to set his red attire as the default, but he wears the red attire whenever he's with the Four Horsemen. The black one is supposedly more of a kind of generic, more popular attire that he was known to wear. So that's Lex done. Let's see who's next. Like I said, load times are so frustrating on this game. It's like all I did was set a new default attire. I literally did nothing else, and it's taking about 10 minutes to load, to save. Okay. But it is an improvement on last year, I will give them that. They've definitely improved the load times from previous years. In previous years, I actually would go and do other tasks around the house while I was waiting. That's how long the load times were. So, we're going to go jump to the bottom now. Okay, last 3 guys, you'll be glad to know if you've managed to survive this long. Thank you, I love you very much. Love you long time. So, 47 minutes. Okay. Jericho, very simple, WCW attires. He wore this yellow and a black attire once or twice, but he also wore this one. This is definitely the more popular sort of attire that you would have seen him wear in WCW. So I've given him both of those old school colours. On my universe mode, his default attire is actually the purple one. And it's funny because when I save it, it says, do you want to save it in settings? But actually it looks like the game doesn't save it in settings because clearly it would have saved it here. So maybe that's why there's an issue with the crowds booing and cheering. Maybe I should do a quick video on that one, because that seems like a solution to an issue that I'm sure everybody else gets on the game. Anyway, that's Chris Jericho's attire. And as I said, the knee pads, everything is as authentic to the WCW appearance as it can be. I went on the network, watched some of his matches, saw that attire, copied it all. So the knee pads are black, the kick pads are black, the wristbands are black. Everything is black that you see. Everything is as it was-ish. And again, he should be booed. Like, Jericho should be booed. It says that he's being cheered. That again would explain why he's being cheered in my universe mode, even though I've set him to be booed. Last 2. Where are you? Come back. Come back. Ric Flair. Oh, I'm going to enjoy showing you Ric Flair's attires. I love Ric Flair. I love him. He's the greatest of all time. He is literally #1 on my top 100 wrestlers of all time list, which you can check out on my Instagram if you want to know who my 100 top wrestlers of all time are. And it also comes with ratings for WWE2k. So what that means is that you can go on my Instagram, it's at hexharper.co, and you will see all of my top wrestlers, and every rating that I give them in this game is on those images as well. So it gives you a really nice quick reference point to who my favourite wrestlers are, but also all of the ratings that they have in game. So he has a Four Horsemen attire with the black and the red. Standard. He did wear this before, by the way. I haven't just created it out of nowhere. And then I wanted to obviously give him his old school look. I always like to give Rick an old school colour. Now, the game this year have used the colour I used last year for my alternate attire in the violet colour for one of the other Ric Flairs. So I decided to do another colour this year rather than the violet one that I usually love. So I went with this green and yellow one that, again, I really love. And I looked at his robes, and those are as good as I can compare them. to what they look like when he entered the ring in those colours. So that's it for Ricky Boy. Woo! Right, let's go to Big Show. Impersonations, that was the word. So Big Boss Man is the last guy on my alternate attires, and as you can see, simple. I think somebody's already bought this one up on Community Creations for download, so you can get it there. It's much easier if you want. Personally, I just recreated the attire. I didn't even use theirs. I just went on the network and just did it. It's really simple to create because it's all on the game. It's like a default setting, and obviously that is the default attire that I use for the Big Boss Man in my universe mode. So that is all of my alternate attires. I am going to add some more. There's also the issue with the crowds that I talked about. Finally, I did want to add to this video my WCW arena review. I did promise that in the description, so I will go through that very, very quickly. Now, I've always said that I create stuff for you guys, the fans, so please believe me when I say I'm not doing this to show off in any way. I'm just doing this because I want to show you the... In fact, I'm going to avoid it because I can. I can avoid it. So I want to look for a specific creator. If you go to X Harper, I'm searching exactly what you guys need to search. And then just go to arenas. You'll see all the arenas that I've created. Now, they're very popular. I've worked out that I've got a whole bunch on the first 2 pages of arena creations, which is, I feel so humbled about, because I don't know how many other arena creators have that many arenas in the top 2 pages, but I have a lot. Like, I've got about 10 or 12 now, something like that. It's a lot. Like I said, it's just a lot. Maybe, no, it's 7. I think I've got these 7 in the top 2, sorry. That's a lot for me to have, and I'm very proud of that. Last year, I don't even think I had 3 or 4. This year, I've more than doubled that, so I'm very, very pleased with how things are going. But for that reason, I wanted to show you guys the arenas that I've created on the game, and then, obviously, you can go and download them at your heart's content after. Starcade 97 is and will probably always be my staple creation. I did it last year properly for the first time and it did really well. Had over 10,000 downloads. This year I've improved it. I've improved the logo for the event and I've improved the placement of the logo on the entranceway so it looks phenomenal, and I think you'll agree it looks great. Everything is authentic. Just to let you know, I did a WCW 1997 pack. So you've got Starcade 97, American Bash 97, Fall Brawl 97, World War 3 97, Slamboree 97, Road Wild 97, and then Bash at the Beach 96. But 96 is obviously significant and has just passed the 1,000 download mark, as you can see. It's significant because it's where Hulk Hogan turned heel, so I figured that people would still want that iconic venue on the game, so I always upload that one as well, which is a later one. It's doing really well. Great American Bash is what I love about this game, by the way. When you do search creators, it will do it, it orders it in order of popularity rather in the order that I downloaded it, so you're going to get to see what my actual most popular content is, rather than me going on my upload and showing you there where it's all out of order. It doesn't show you the best at the top. This one does. So, Great American Bash 97. This is, again, I was really pleased with the outcome of this one. The mini Tron is not perfect, but the big Tron, the big Titan Tron, and the way that looks is absolutely perfect to the way that the event looked in real life. Again, the arena, everything looks as good as, or as close as I can get it. Full Brawl, which of course, as an event, War Games is coming back at the moment. It's obviously been in NXT for a while now, which is great. I love War Games. I wish that you could create the double arenas. I would love it if you could get double rings matches in 2K games. I don't think it will ever happen, but wouldn't it be amazing? It may happen actually. Next generation console, who knows what's going to be possible. I would love to see them bring in some of those old school match types because they were sick and they were fun to play. Nothing like having a steel cage wrapped around 2 rings and then just having a free-for-all beat 'em up brawl in the middle of it. it was the best time in WCW. Arguably, if in my opinion, the best pay-per-view or match type that they had ever. And it was better than most of the WE's match types as well. So that's a good one. Download that. The next one is World War III. Here you can see... now, the World War III one I feel is really contentious. I feel like a lot of people... Again, Mandela effect. People get the wrong presumption of what the World War III logo looked like. I've gone back in the network, and this I can promise you, except for the WCW NWO logo, the actual colour scheme of that logo is correct and to how it looked in 97. The only difference, I've added the WCW NWO logo over the top. Before it just said WCW. But like I said, that is as authentic to the original in 97 as it can be. You'll see a lot of other creations of that logo and they're all wrong. Like, it's a one colour logo. It's often... There's the yellow 3 one that is different. But for 97, it's just the one colour logo. A long time to create. The logo in particular took me forever to create and actually look good. It looks so good. I'm proud of that logo. When I look at it compared to the original, there aren't many big differences. Of course, there are some differences, but it's negligible. And I think you'll agree it looks really good. Bash at the Beach 96 is fairly simple and straightforward. I've just recreated the colour scheme for the ring and the arena, and it looks great. Road Wild, again, this is one of my favourite arenas. I think this is a really understated arena in the game that I've created. This looks so good. It's finally rising up now. As you can see, 930 downloads. I think that one is going to break through the 1,000 download barrier pretty soon. November to Remember, do you know what? There's a guy out there called Skunky Pants who creates arenas. He is my inspiration for ECW creations. And basically what I've done here, I just had a look at the event, and this actually is a really accurate look to how November to Remember looked. It's the best one that I've done of my ECW collection, and rightfully so. I think it's earned those downloads. Skunky Pants does great creations, and I want to just put it on record, I'm not in competition with the guy at all. He is better at creating ECW arenas than I am, and he does a great job with it as well. So by all means, check out his versions of all these arenas, download them. It really doesn't bother me. He does a great job, so he deserves the praise. SummerSlam 95, sorry. This one, again, an arena that I'm really proud of. I love it. I think I've done a really good job with it. Looks very, very close to the original SummerSlam 95 arena. The only difference is that there were actually fans at the back behind the tunnel. For some reason, the game doesn't like putting fans there. They should do, because in the old school arenas, there were fans all the way around the arena. ECW Hardcore Heaven has actually done a lot better than I thought, because Skunky Pants has a great version out there. Mine's not bad. The ring and the arena looks authentic to the real event. The stage is obviously where I've had to use a bit of creative freedom to try and create the original look. But the arena and the ring mats and everything, that is perfect. I've had a look at the event myself. It is as close as you can get to the real thing. The next two are actually two arenas that are, again, doing really well. What you'll see is King of the Ring 1998. Let's just preview that. This is one of my favourite arenas. This is one of the first arenas where I've used my own custom apron design. Okay, I've never done that on any ring before, but I did on this one for the first time, and it came out looking beautiful, high res. It looks awesome. I had to find the font for the World Wrestling Entertainment logo on the side of the apron. It's a great ring. You should get it. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. WrestleMania 14 was an arena that I created directly after the King of the Ring 98 arena, because I'd worked out how to make the entranceway look like it does. The only difference is that I've moved the angle of the entranceway on the WrestleMania 14 arena so that it's at an angle, and you guys can watch that. And you'll see it in the game. It looks perfect. Very happy with that one. One thing I've just noticed, by the way, and this is me critiquing my own work now, I'm pretty sure I put Wrestling Entertainment on the ring apron and then the WF logo on the other ring apron. I might change that, I'm not sure, but you can go ahead and change it yourself. I will upload a logo for that so that you guys can change it if you want to, but I'm probably going to change that myself because it's important not to have the WE and the WF logos contradicting one another in the game. Super Brawl 97, again, one of my big love creations. I have done a great job on this one. When I look back at the network and watch the event live, I was scared at how close I managed to finally get this arena. It looks really good to Super Brawl. I think it's Super Brawl 7 from 1997. So go and check it out. It's a great arena, but it was one of the later ones that I created, so that's why it's a much lower download rate than the others. Again, Survivor Series 98, I've seen another attempt at Survivor Series 98 on the game, and it's alright. The guys have done a decent job. The only thing they've added that wasn't there in the real arena, there is there was no Titantron, essentially. In the original Survivor Series 98, there was no Titantron, there was no big black curtain, it was just the fans behind. So mine is a bit more accurate in terms of that, but there's still two great arenas. Whichever one you take, I'm sure you will enjoy. Royal Rumble 94. This was just me wanting to create an arena that means a lot to me from my childhood. I used to have it on, I've still got it on VHS at home, but I used to watch it all the time. It was one of my favourite pay-per-views. Seeing Bret Hart and Lex Luger draw, it was a lot of fun. So I wanted to recreate it, and this is what I came up with. Very happy with it. Barely Legal 1997 from ECW. Skunky Pants has a much better version, but my ring is equally as good as his, but the actual entranceway, he just nails that. He smashes it out the park every time with his entrances on ECW arenas. So to be honest, go download his. It's much better than mine. I've done a WrestleMania 1 and 2. They are as original as they can be in terms of their look and feel. The colours are as close as you can get to the original colours of the WrestleMania ring and ring mats and all that stuff. Same with WrestleMania 2. I had to create the ring mat logo myself, the apron logo myself for that one because of the way that they did it. It's weird that they had this like black piece that had the logo on. I don't know why they didn't just put WrestleMania 2 on the actual blue apron, but that's what it is. So you've got that. Then there's an ECW weekly arena that you can look at. This is what I use in my universe mode, so it's like a neutral ECW arena. I actually really love it. It's a fun looking arena. And then ECW Extreme Mania. Extreme Mania is my pay-per-view. This is what I use for my like WrestleMania for ECW. This year I've downplayed the arena a lot more than years before. In years gone by, I've always used like a WrestleMania elaborate stage. And this year I've really downplayed it because I wanted to get the authenticity closer to how ECW was. Thank you, XD McSaucy. That's really nice. So yeah, I just wanted to create an arena that was a lot more genuine and would be more realistic to fitting into my universe mode with ECW. So that's what I ended up with there. And that is the last of my arena creations on the game. Like I said, my WCW ones, I think I've got 7 of the top 10 WCW arenas, and that is the 7 here. Thank you. I'm almost finished though. I'm sorry to let you know I'm almost done with the video, but I really do appreciate that comment. That is nice of you. So like I said, WCW 7 out of the top 10. I'm not an egotist, I promise, but I'm really proud of the fact that before I started creating these about 5 months ago, I did not expect them to do this well. I just thought I'm going to create a 97 pack and hopefully the fans will like it. And clearly people are enjoying it because they are the most downloaded arenas that I've got. With that said, if you've got any arenas from the Attitude Era that you want me to create, please let me know. I've got 2 shows available to do. So what I'll do is I'll create the arena and then create the show and upload the show to Community Creations. The only one that I might get rid of, I may get rid of Barely Legal from the upload, from downloads. I'm not sure yet, but my point here is that there is space for 2 more arenas, and I do take requests. King of the Ring 98 was a request. Super Brawl 97 was a request. I think Survivor Series 98 was a request from someone, and that's it. So those 3 were all requests that people gave me, and then I just went ahead and created. And right now I'm at the point where I did all my creating within the first 2 weeks of the game's release. So I've freed up all my time now to be able to get on with universe mode, but then also to do some extra creations. But that's it. That's my arenas. I hope that you like those. There are some other really good creators of arenas, like I've mentioned. Skunky Pants, you can find on Twitter. He is an excellent ECW creator. You should definitely download his stuff. And yeah, I hope you like my alternate attires. I'm going to probably do some more because I've got loads of space left now that I've done all of my roster. You can check out the roster video on my YouTube channel if you want to know who I use in my universe mode. All of my creations are on there. Everybody that I've downloaded is on there. You can just have a look at that, see who you like. If you love the video, please give it a like and a comment. Let me know what you think of the videos. If there's anything you don't like, please also comment. Don't just give it a thumbs down. I really appreciate the feedback. It means that I can try and make videos that are better, that you enjoy more. So it means a lot to me to actually get written feedback from you guys as viewers. Other than that, like, subscribe to the channel, keep watching the videos, and hopefully you guys will enjoy what's coming up. I've got a couple of other videos that I want to do hopefully today, although this one has gone way over the time that I allotted for it. But like I said, you will have a chance to watch those as they come out. Just keep an eye on the channel, see what's coming. Until next time, guys, I am X Harper and you have been awesome. Thank you so much. And until the next video, what?